Hey you guys, Laura here, and today I'm going to be taking you through an arm series on the foam roller. So we are going to be going through an arm series that's super short on the foam roller. So if you missed my review on the 36-inch smooth basic foam roller, go ahead and check it out. This is one of those series that I do prefer the longer foam roller for because you need it to lay down on. So you want to make sure that it is long enough for you to lay down from your head to your tailbone. This routine that I'm going to be taking you through, it is great for helping to improve shoulder mobility, help to improve posture, so opening up the chest, opening up the upper back. And if you are a climber, swimmer, volleyball player, basically anything that you need good range of motion for your shoulders for, this is going to be a great routine for you to incorporate into your warm-ups. And then for this routine, you could use a pair of light weights. You don't want to use more than 1 or 2 pounds for it. So you can grab 16-ounce can of vegetables, beans, whatever. You do want to have something that your hands can grab into. And then I also have a dowel that I'm taking from my Pilates equipment, but you could also use like a broomstick to hold on to. So those are the only things besides the foam roller that you will need for this routine. And let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be using some hand weights and a dowel or a broomstick. So I'm just going to go ahead and place one of those weights to either side of my foam roller. And I'm going to have the dowel that I'm using right next to me as well. To get onto the foam roller, you're going to want to go towards the most tippy edge of it and then just gently rest yourself downwards onto it, making sure your head and your tailbone are supported on the foam roller. Once you're here, see that foam roller is in line with the center of your spine so that you're not leaning over one side or the other. And so what I really like doing, or why I really like doing this arm series on the foam roller, is already I can feel if I'm biasing one side of my body versus the other, because the foam roller will roll towards the side that I'm trying to dominate on. I'm going to start with the dowel in my hands and just raise it upwards towards the sky. So here I'm trying to get a little bit more into my body, create some body awareness here. So I'm trying to approximate if my feet are even with one another. I want those feet to be about hip width apart and those knees are straight upwards towards the sky here. Before I even start to move anything, I already have a little bit of abdominal engagement here as well. So my belly is pulling in towards my lower back. I'm trying to pull my ribs together. So wearing a jacket like I am right now, it's really good imagery. So you really think about trying to pull the belly away from the zipper of the jacket and pull everything in as if you were wearing a jacket that was maybe a little bit too small for you, right? You're really trying to hug everything towards one another versus like bracing, or versus trying to just squish it all together, if that makes sense. It's very directional. Those intercostals, those ribs hug in, the belly hugs into the back, and you're not trying to smush your back into the foam roller, but naturally what will happen as you have that hugging sensation, your lower back will lengthen, creating less space between your lower back and the foam roller. And that's what we want. Both hands are going to come onto this dowel or this stick. And the stick is really just to ensure that our right and left arm are working together, working uniformly. So I'm going to try to reach it upwards above my head. And as I reach it above my head, I want to make sure there's no swaying in my side body, no swaying in my roller. And then I'm going to bring the dowel downwards towards my thighs. As they come towards my thighs, I want to try to open my chest. Lift it up towards the sky. Reach it back behind me. I'm not trying to touch the ground. It's more that I'm trying to get my biceps to frame my ears without feeling any change in my spine against the roller. And then take that dowel back downwards towards your thighs. So remember that dowel. You might not have a Pilates dowel. You could use a broomstick. If you had a massage stick, you could use that. Basically just something that's long enough for you to have your hands a little bit wider than shoulder width apart as you're holding on to it, you got like a soft grip on it so that your right and left arm could be trying to learn how to work together symmetrically. And as I'm moving my arms up and down, I can feel my shoulder blades tilting up and down my back. So that's what I want as I go into flexion through the shoulders and then go through extension. Extension is when the bar comes down. When that bar comes down, I'm really actively trying to make my collarbones grow wider from one another. So that's where that postural benefit comes in. A lot of times if you're seated at a computer, or even, there's a lot of sports that bias more internal rotation, like swimming, for example, as you're freestyle stroking forward. I guess it depends on what stroke you do for swimming. Shouldn't just say that all swimmers have a rounded chest forward. That's not very nice to make that assumption. But anything that has the shoulder rolling forward in internal rotation, when we take the hands down to our thighs, this is going to be a really great place to practice that opening and get a little bit of upper back work as well, passively, without having any weights in our hands, right? Because this dowel, this broomstick, shouldn't really weigh that much. 2 more here. And as I'm moving my shoulder blades up and down, I can feel how naturally the foam roller, without having to actually move on the foam roller, is kind of rolling out my back at the same time, which is pretty cool. All right, this is the last one that we're doing with both arms together. And then I'm going to take the weights into my hands. So you should have put them 1 to each side so you don't have to rock up in any crazy orientation. And you're going to reach your arms upwards towards the sky. And we're going to see if we can maintain that same symmetry now that our hands are not connected together. So I'm counting this as one of the same exercises, as this is one that I do have to practice a little bit for myself. I did break my left hand, my left wrist a couple years ago. And so I'm always trying to work to maintain that balance, that symmetry between right and left shoulder, between my lats, between my back. So this is a good thing for me to constantly come back to try to find that symmetry. I'm not going for speed. I'm really trying to maintain stability and control. I still have that hug in my belly and my ribs. And so what I like about this foam roller series is that it's actually an adaptation from the spine corrector arm series on the barrel. And I know that not everyone has access to Pilates equipment. And so this is a really great way to get some of that shoulder mobility, that spine flexibility, that postural correction on a foam roller that, is maybe anywhere between $30 to $50. Not that big of a deal. I'm breathing as I'm moving my arms up and down. I like to use that exhale as my hands are coming up to the ceiling. So I'm kind of dividing this movement into 2 breaths, or an inhale backwards, an exhale forward, an inhale down into that extension, and exhale up so that my hands are over those shoulders. But it's smooth. I'm not pausing over the shoulders. That's just how my breath cadence is translating. I'm strengthening my back as I'm using these 2-pound weights. They don't seem, I can front raise and forward lift much heavier than 2 pounds, but as I'm really trying to focus on my posture here, I'm very much more aware of my lats, my serratus, my rotator cuff. I can feel all those muscles that hug my shoulder blades being active here. You don't really need that much weight. 1 more reach to the back. Oops, felt a little wiggly. My right hand tried to go a little bit faster. And 1 more down. When we come up to the top, we're going to switch exercises. So now we go into exercise number 2. Now I'm going to try to move them in separate directions and maintain my stability on the foam roller. So 1 arm will go up, 1 arm will come down. And then exhale, lift it upwards towards the sky. And again, 1 arm goes up, 1 arm goes down. And then exhale, lift it upwards towards the sky. So you might find that with 1 arm, you might not be able to reach as far back as when you had both arms going. And that's because your core, your center, your trunk has to turn on to stabilize you a little bit more, as it has those weights going in oppositional directions. We're engaging what we call that sling connection. So you kind of imagine if you made an X on your torso, or turning on that diagonal line to try to keep that roller from rolling from side to side. So if you have one side, one part of that sling that's dominating, you'll notice that the roller will want to twist, tilt that way, that's trying to lead, that's trying to dominate, that's trying to overpower. That's what I really like about using the foam roller for this arm series. The spine corrector for Pilates is really nice too. It helps to put you into a little bit more of a back extension for postural correction. But I also really love how the foam roller gives you this feedback, this directional feedback. Using my inhale now as my arms split away. Using my exhale as my arms come back to ceiling. I'm going to do one more reach with my right arm back. Use that belly to come up. One more reach with my left arm back. And then exhale as I come back up. And I can feel the backside of my upper shoulders and my back feel really turned on now. Hopefully you do too. Next, I'm going to turn my palms to face one another. And I'm going to gently open my elbows towards the side. So you kind of think like a peck fly. You don't want the elbows to touch the ground. They're just opening laterally from side to side. And then I want you to hug those knuckles right in front of your chest. So this one is called hug. We're going to open, elbows widen, and then exhale, hug it forward. So we're still opening up the chest as that upper arm bone opens to the side. We want to make sure that the elbow and the shoulders are trying to stay on the same line as it opens into that most wide point, right? I said don't let those elbows touch the ground. That's going to let you know that the elbow has gone behind the plane of your body. And it's also going to lead your shoulder into a little bit more internal rotation. And we're trying to get it to sit either in neutral or to bias that external rotation. We're trying to open up the shoulder. I'm going to do 3 more here, and then we're going to change it up a little bit. Still a variation of the hug. You get still feedback from the foam roller, whether it's rolling from side to side. That's going to let you know if you have one arm that's going a little bit faster than the other. I still have that exhale that's helping me take everything up to center. And my weights are meeting in front of my chest, in front of my heart, versus in front of my chin. So I should see them not right above me, not right above my eye gaze, but lower than that. Then we're going to change it up. When we go backwards, or open to the side, I should say, we're going to be doing the same thing. But now when we close, we're actually going to wrap our arms around one another, giving ourselves a hug. This, it might look like internal rotation, but we're actually going to call it protraction. We're going to open to the side, and then our shoulder blades have to protract around our rib cage to help us hug ourselves and switch the arm that's on top. Open, shoulders down the back, exhale, hug. Now my right arm's on top as I hug myself. Open. You want to make sure that as you're going through these arm exercises, that your gaze hasn't started to look backwards, that you're almost thinking about that chin pulling in towards your neck so that your cervical is in line with the rest of your spine. We're going to do 2 more here. Remembering that every time those elbows open to the side, we're trying to keep them even with our shoulder. Awesome job, you guys. Okay, take those arms upwards towards the ceiling, and now we'll isolate that protraction. I want you to imagine that you're boxing upwards towards the sky. Try to get a little bit of reach towards the ceiling, and then release the shoulder blades down. Reach those knuckles so those elbows don't change in shape, and then resist those shoulder blades down. And again, reach and drop. Arms still stay straight. Reach towards the sky. Reach and drop those shoulder blades. Last 2, reach and drop. 1 more here. Reach and drop. Awesome. Go ahead and bend the elbows to rest the weights onto the floor. And then to get up, you can either roll to the side, or let's see if I can do this one today. I separated my feet a little bit more. You're going to tuck that chin to your chest and try to come up to a seated position using those abdominals. That is a really great series to help improve your shoulder mobility, strengthen the external rotators of your shoulders, help to improve the posture in your upper back. Here, you're going to feel those lats get strengthened, feel those the muscles that are responsible for extension get strengthened, and you can also feel how that over time is going to help to loosen up your shoulder blades, which will also help to improve your shoulder mobility as well. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions for me, leave it in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my page, ring the bell so that you can keep getting those notifications and know when there is a new fitness video for you. And remember, it's not just about fitness here. I'm all about helping to improve your lifestyle, helping to improve your wellness, helping to help you move better. So I will see you next time as we continue through January for our foam rolling series. Have a good one.